You know, 20 years ago, turnarounds used to be about the person, the man, the woman, the name that was going to come in, and they were going to turn around your company. We all have, we all think about, Al Dunlap as a great example of that. And to some extent, that is still true. There is a bit about force of personality that helps change a trajectory of a company that's embedded with a very specific way of doing things. But I think that that's changed a lot, especially over the last 10 years, where these turnarounds have gotten a lot more holistic. There is more than just a person. It is more about bringing in overall expertise, looking for the underlying reasons behind why a company is struggling, and addressing those underlying reasons versus just taking a company through a process that's going to result in headcount reductions, closing a few locations, and shutting down your CapEx budget for 2 years. So when I first get into a turnaround and I spend some time with the management team, the first thing that I'm looking at is I'm assessing that team, especially in the C-suites. The CFO position, the Chief Executive Officer, CEO or COO positions. A conversation needs to happen with the board, I would say, within the first 2 weeks of being there. Because generally, within the first 2 weeks, you pretty much can understand, who is going to get in the way of change, who is looking to make the changes that need to be made, or who's going to be a change blocker. I have an example of something I did about 2 years ago with a company, private equity-owned company, where one of the C-suite executives, it was obvious from the first week that I was there that he was not the right person for the job. Right? Having a face-to-face conversation with the chairman, who happened to be the PE operating partner at the time, where I laid it out to that person, and they got it. And they said, I was waiting for you to say that, and now that I know, we'll make the change. Often they're waiting for someone just to tell them. I rarely run into situations where the entire management team needs to be replaced. And in fact, I often counsel against that. You lose so much institutional knowledge that it's very difficult to get that company back on the track quickly. However, looking at, does the CEO need to be changed out, or is it the CFO that's the issue? I think that's really important to do very early on when you're facing a turnaround. These aren't bad managers. They're managers that find themselves into a situation that in the world that they were living in, they didn't realize that changes were going on outside. So I think there are a couple things that prevent managers from changing once they're faced with the need for the change. And one of them is as simple as ego. They have created the plan. That plan is their baby. That's the one that they have sold to the board. That's the one that they have told their employees about, and they just don't want to move off. That's probably what I see the most often in these situations. They're wedded to that plan, and it's very difficult to bring them off. I think a second one is, everyone talks about how they like change. And in my experience, no one really likes change. The change it's an unknown. They're no longer in control of it. It becomes uncomfortable. And I think there's a natural inclination to sit where you are and wait for things to change around you versus affecting the change yourself. So one of the things that's really important in a turnaround is creating a shared purpose, a sense of urgency. And as an interim executive, as an interim CFO or a chief restructuring officer, I think that we play a big role in helping people understand what the goal is, having measurement and metrics to get to that goal, and aligning everyone along a vision of success and what that vision means. And often it takes someone to do that from the outside, that everyone can get together and understand before you can move forward as a team.